Hey everyone, it's Julie and today I'll be making lasagna. I love lasagna and hopefully you like it as much as I do. So let's get started. So the first thing I did was add a couple of tablespoons of oil to my pot and let it warm up a bit. I threw in my ground beef, and I know some people like to add pork to their lasagna. I only use beef. Now I really dislike big chunks of ground beef floating around my lasagna, so I try to break it up as best as possible. In a food processor, I'm going to throw in some onions, green and red bell peppers, garlic, basil, parsley, and a bit of olive oil. If you don't own a food processor, you can always mince the veggies really fine. And this is going to bring so much flavor to the lasagna. Now, what I did here was I took a ladle and I'm going to remove some of the fat that the ground beef produced. Yeah, that's a good word. And I could have used a strainer, but this pot is so heavy, so I just ladled it out. I added some tomato paste. I added the veggies that I processed and I'm going to give it a stir. Now I know some people add bechamel to their lasagna, others use pork, some don't add peppers. I get that, but what's great about cooking is that you don't have to follow recipes to a T. You could take ideas from lots of recipes and create your own. So what I'm trying to say is that this is lasagna a la Julie, and it is delicious and so flavorful. So I added some red pepper flakes, crushed tomatoes, and diced tomatoes, and some water. And we're going to let this simmer for a couple of hours so the meat is really tender. And don't forget to season with salt and pepper to your liking, of course. I added a little bit of sugar to cut the acid from the tomatoes, some wine, and I gave this a stir. I covered it slightly, bumped the heat to low, and let it cook for about 2 hours. And 2 hours later, that's what it's going to look like. And it was so good. I wish I was living this moment again. Alright, so taste for seasoning. So now we're going to prepare our ricotta. I added 1 egg, some Parmesan cheese, some parsley that I chopped up. Seasoned this with some salt and pepper. I added a little bit of garlic powder to give it a little extra taste, flavor. And then we're going to mix this really well. And even though it has raw egg, I'm not gonna lie, I did taste it. But I suggest you not to do that. Now, in my baking sheet, I'm going to add some olive oil, add some meat sauce at the bottom, and then we're going to place our noodles. And I want you to cook your noodles according to whatever your box says. As you can see, I'm taking the ricotta and I'm spreading it all over the noodles. And this takes a little patience, but when making lasagna, you can't be in a rush. So yeah, that's what I did. And then I added some meat sauce on top. With my spatula, I'm going to spread it all around. And then I'm going to add some mozzarella cheese, some Parmesan cheese, and a little bit of oregano. And then we're going to keep repeating this until we get to the top or run out of noodles. I use buffalo mozzarella because it's my favorite. Although if you use buffalo mozzarella, I want you to know that it doesn't get brown. You probably already knew that. So if you like your cheese to get brown and crispy, don't use buffalo. Now some people don't like too much cheese on top. They think it makes the lasagna greasy. How much or how little cheese you want to add, it's totally up to you. I added 2 little bay leaves to make it cute. Then I covered the lasagna, baked it in a preheated oven at 375 degrees for 30 minutes covered. And then I took off the foil and cooked it for an additional 20 to 30 minutes. And that was it. So delicious. This lasagna was so good. I really hope you guys give it a try. Also, when it's done baking, make sure to let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes, just so it's easier to cut and doesn't fall apart. And it also tastes better, so let it sit for a little bit. And that's about it. This lasagna was so delicious. I hope you guys make it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching, guys.